They don't even know why they're thinking about you, but they are. You've entered their mind like a whisper in the dark, soft yet undeniable. Every thought they try to follow gets tangled in the shape of you, in the echo of your laughter, the depth of your gaze, the invisible trace of your energy that still lingers even when you're not there. You've become a pulse in their subconscious, an echo that refuses to fade. And it's not because you asked for their attention. It's not because you reached out or tried to be seen. No, it's because you decided it was already yours. Telepathy isn't about reading minds. It's about commanding the unseen currents of energy that flow between all beings. It's the art of sending signals so pure, so confident, so unwavering that the universe itself bends to match your inner conviction. You don't ask for love. You don't chase it. You emanate it. You project it. You declare it. You vibrate at the frequency of being desired. And because of that, desire finds you again and again, through faces, through thoughts, through dreams. When you walk through this world with the certainty that you are magnetic, that you are unforgettable, everything around you adjusts to that belief. People feel your energy before you speak. They remember you without knowing why. They crave your presence without understanding what's happening inside them. Because your energy speaks a language older than words. It's a silent conversation between souls, a pull that defies reason. Every time you think of them, every time you close your eyes and feel their presence, that energy travels. It moves through space, through thought, through the invisible web that connects every consciousness. You don't have to be in the same room. You don't have to be in the same city. Your thoughts are the bridge. Your emotion is the signal. Your belief is the transmitter. They feel you like a sudden pull in their chest. They pause in the middle of their day, wondering why your face flashes in their mind. They hear your name in a song. They dream of you without realizing they were invited into your creation. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. You've taken hold of the narrative that plays in their subconscious. You've become the main character in their mental movie. Because when you believe that they are thinking about you, when you walk through life with the knowing that their attention belongs to you, a telepathic link is forged. It's not built through effort, it's built through knowing. Knowing that energy moves in response to intention, knowing that thought becomes experience, knowing that your focus writes the script that reality follows. This is not manipulation, this is authorship. You are not bending their will, you are shaping energy. You are remembering your natural power, the same power that creates worlds, the same force that births stars and stirs oceans. You're aligning your consciousness with a truth so complete that the outer world must reflect it. When you imagine them thinking of you, you're not daydreaming. You're planting seeds. Every image, every feeling, every silent affirmation becomes a thread woven into the fabric of their subconscious. You see their eyes locked on yours. You feel the warmth of their attention. You sense the pull of their desire. And the moment you feel it as real, the universe begins to organize itself around that feeling. Telepathy is not about force, it's about resonance. It's not about control, it's about coherence. When your energy and your belief are in harmony, your message becomes undeniable. The subconscious doesn't need words. It responds to vibration, to emotion, to certainty. And when you emit that frequency long enough, clearly enough, it becomes a rhythm that the other person's mind starts to follow. That's how obsession begins. Not as a sudden spark, but as a slow and steady current, a pulse that builds each time you affirm your knowing. They begin to feel you. They start to crave you. They think of you without effort because your energy has made its home inside their awareness. You've entered the space between their thoughts. You don't chase them, you don't plead for attention. You command reality through your state of being. You choose what they remember. You choose how they feel. You choose what they crave, because your inner world is the script and their reactions are the echo. The moment you stop wondering if it's working and start knowing that it already has, the shift begins. You don't need to see results to believe. Belief itself is the cause. Belief is the vibration that moves mountains, bends time, and turns imagination into form. You hold that belief steady, not as hope, not as wishful thinking, but as truth. And when you do, they feel it. They sense it. They can't explain why, but they can't escape the feeling of you. You live in their mind rent-free, looping through their thoughts, weaving through their emotions, existing in the corners of their consciousness like a song they can't stop humming. That's the art of telepathic command. The ability to influence without effort, to project without words, to attract without chasing. You don't demand love. You are love. You don't seek obsession. You become the source of it. You don't hope for connection. You embody it. So, as you close your eyes tonight, remember, the distance doesn't matter, the silence doesn't matter, the circumstances don't matter. What matters is your inner conviction. What matters is that you know, truly know, that your energy is being felt, that your presence is already there, that the story you tell in your mind is the reality they begin to live in theirs. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are choosing. You are not chasing their attention. You are directing it. You are not hoping they feel the pull. You are the pull, the whisper in the dark, the rhythm in their mind, the energy that cannot be forgotten. And as you continue to hold this knowing with calm, steady certainty, they will feel it grow, stronger, deeper, undeniable, until it becomes the very air they breathe. There comes a moment when you stop wondering if they still think about you and you simply know they do. It's not arrogance, it's awareness, a quiet certainty that settles somewhere beneath your ribs, steady and calm, like the hum of something ancient and familiar. You sense the invisible thread that connects your mind to theirs, the same thread that vibrates each time your thoughts reach out to them. You're not reaching through effort, you're reaching through essence, because thought, when felt deeply, doesn't need permission to travel. It moves freely through the unseen, finding its way into the hearts and minds of those it belongs to. Telepathy is not about trying to convince someone to think of you. It's about aligning your inner world so precisely that thinking of you becomes their natural state. The energy you carry within you, the quiet, confident knowing of being desired, creates a magnetic field around you. It extends far beyond what eyes can see, and anyone who has ever been close enough to feel your presence carries a trace of it still. You become part of their internal landscape, like a scent that lingers in memory, or a song that plays faintly long after it's ended. People often think influence requires words, that to be remembered you must be loud, visible, deliberate. But the truth is, the mind listens more deeply to silence than to noise. Your energy, your certainty, your calm belief, these speak more clearly than any sentence ever could. When you sit in stillness, picturing them feeling you, remembering you, longing for you, you are not imagining. You are transmitting. Each image, each emotion becomes a frequency, and the subconscious mind, the most sensitive receiver there is, begins to respond. Most people live unaware of this constant exchange of energy. They move through the world thinking thoughts are private, sealed within their own heads. But every emotion has a vibration, and every vibration leaves an imprint. Have you ever felt someone's eyes on you before you turned around? Or sensed tension in a room before anyone spoke? That's the same language. It's communication without words. It's energy speaking, thought moving, connection unfolding in silence. When you begin to master this awareness, you stop chasing. You no longer beg for attention because you understand that attention is a reflection of focus. Whatever you pour your awareness into begins to take shape, to find expression. When you focus on them with clarity, not from need but from knowing, you begin to shape the version of reality where they can't stop thinking about you. Not because you force it, but because the energy of your focus is consistent, pure, deliberate. And that's where most people falter. They think a single visualization, a single affirmation can undo months of doubt. But influence doesn't come from fleeting moments, it comes from repetition. Every time you imagine them thinking of you, every time you breathe in and feel their attention returning to you, you're carving that pathway deeper into the shared space between you. The more consistent your belief, the clearer the signal becomes. It's like tuning a radio, static at first. But the more you hold the frequency, the sharper the sound grows. Until one day, it's crystal clear. They start feeling it as restlessness, as curiosity. They can't explain why your name crosses their mind or why their mood shifts when they think of you. They scroll through their phone, half expecting to see your name appear. They hear a song that reminds them of a moment that never actually happened, yet it feels real. These are the symptoms of your focus taking form. But here's the secret. The power doesn't lie in them noticing you. It lies in you no longer needing them to. True telepathic command is born when your energy no longer seeks validation. You are not sending signals to be confirmed. You are living in the vibration where confirmation is unnecessary. When you believe so completely in your own magnetism, the universe responds as if it were already a fact. You see, belief isn't just a thought you repeat, it's a state you embody. When you walk with the confidence that you are remembered, admired, desired, your entire being begins to broadcast that message. It seeps into your tone, your expression, your silence. And because energy communicates faster than words, they begin to feel that truth before you ever speak it. You might think of it as emotional gravity. The stronger your inner stability, the more powerfully you pull, not by force, but by nature. The calm certainty that they feel your presence becomes the center of your orbit, and everything begins to fall in line around it. You stop reacting to their silence, to their distance, because you understand it doesn't matter. What matters is the inner consistency of your story, the one where they can't escape your memory because it has become part of their own. And as days pass, this awareness deepens. You don't chase the outcome, you live inside it. You move through the world knowing your presence lingers in their thoughts, your energy resting in the corners of their mind. They may try to distract themselves, to reason it away, but the connection remains. It's not tethered to time or space. It exists in the quiet rhythm between two consciousnesses tuned to the same frequency. You've taken hold of the narrative now. You are the writer, not the character. You're no longer asking, do they think of me? You're stating, they can't stop thinking of me. You don't look for signs, you are the sign. And the moment you begin to live that truth with calm assurance, the energy shifts. Their thoughts start to mirror yours, their emotions echo yours, until eventually the line between your imagination and their reality disappears completely. That's when you realize this has never been about control. It's about mastery. Mastery over your state, your belief, your emotional rhythm. Because when you master your inner world, the outer world has no choice but to respond. There's a quiet power in realizing that everything you desire already exists within you. The moment you stop chasing and start embodying, the world begins to move differently. You notice it first in subtle ways. The air feels lighter, your thoughts flow with more certainty, and there's an invisible confidence in the way you carry yourself. This is not the confidence that demands to be seen, it's the one that simply knows. And from that knowing, everything begins to align. Telepathic connection is not a trick of the mind. It's a dialogue between two energies resonating on the same frequency. You are not trying to force their attention, you are calling it home. When you hold someone in your imagination with clarity, not from lack but from fullness, you create a vibration so steady that their subconscious can't help but tune in. The mind recognizes energy that feels familiar, and what you repeatedly project becomes that familiarity. It's how strangers become memories and how thoughts become bonds. You must understand that emotion is the true language of influence. Words may describe desire, but emotion transmits it. When you imagine them feeling you, really feeling you, you're not pretending, you're building a signal. The more vivid your emotion, the more real that signal becomes. The subconscious mind doesn't differentiate between what is happening in the physical and what is happening in the emotional field. It only responds to consistency and conviction. So when you imagine with emotion, their mind begins to receive those impressions as truth. They start to feel waves of emotion they can't name. Restlessness that shows up at night. A quiet curiosity that makes them think of you when they least expect it. They don't know where it comes from, but you do. It's the echo of your focus. Your thoughts, if charged with enough emotional clarity, begin to live inside their awareness. It's not fantasy, it's frequency. This is why the work must always begin with you. Before you can be felt, you must learn to feel yourself fully, deeply, without resistance. You must anchor into your own worth, because every signal you send carries the imprint of your self-concept. If you feel unworthy, your energy whispers uncertainty. If you feel powerful, your energy becomes undeniable. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to states of being. And so does the human mind. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't question their presence. It's not arrogance, it's peace. That quiet, effortless self-assurance that radiates from within. When you walk through the world with that kind of energy, people feel it. They can't quite describe it, but they sense it in your silence, in your gaze, in the way you hold space. You no longer seek to be noticed, yet you are. You no longer ask to be remembered, yet you linger. This is the foundation of telepathic influence, the mastery of your inner vibration. It's about holding your frequency steady, even when the outer world appears unchanged. It's about trusting that your thoughts, your emotions, your quiet focus are already at work beneath the surface. Because they are. Every time you imagine them thinking of you, every time you affirm your connection in silence, you're reinforcing that invisible bridge between you. But here's what most people miss. You cannot send a clear signal from chaos. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, or desperation, your energy becomes fragmented. You might visualize for hours, but if your emotional state contradicts your vision, the message gets lost. Clarity isn't about trying harder, it's about feeling truer. The moment you settle into certainty, everything simplifies. You no longer try to make them think of you. You simply know that they already do. That knowing is the secret. It's what turns imagination into influence. Because when you believe something so completely, your energy organizes itself around that belief. Your body language changes, your tone changes, even your silence begins to speak differently. And without realizing it, they begin to respond to that new rhythm. It's not manipulation, it's resonance. You are no longer asking for their focus, you are allowing them to find it in the only place it can exist, within you. Think of your energy as a soft, steady current that flows through everything you do. When you are aligned with certainty, that current becomes magnetic. It doesn't demand attention, it attracts it. Every person you meet, every space you walk into, every thought that leaves your mind carries the signature of your belief. And when that belief is, I am unforgettable, the world and the person you're thinking of begin to mirror it back. You don't have to push the connection, you don't have to obsess, you simply stay rooted in your truth. When the doubt rises, you breathe and return to your center. When fear whispers that they've forgotten you, you remind yourself that energy doesn't vanish, it transforms, it circulates, it returns. What you send out in faith always comes back multiplied. This is how you move from desire to embodiment. You stop reaching outward and start radiating inward. You stop asking when and start feeling now. Because everything you want already exists in the unseen, waiting for you to match its frequency. The connection you crave is not something to build, it's something to remember. And when you remember it deeply enough, the other person begins to remember too. They don't know why their thoughts wander back to you. They don't know why certain places, songs, or moments make them feel that pull. But you do. It's the language of energy speaking quietly beneath the surface. It's your belief echoing in their mind like a story they can't stop rereading. So hold that energy, refine it, make it calm, steady, and intentional. You are not here to chase or to prove. You are here to embody, to become the signal so clear that they can't help but feel it. And once they do, they'll realize that what they're feeling isn't random, it's recognition. Recognition of the connection you've known all along. There's a moment, subtle but unmistakable, when your inner world begins to shift. It doesn't come with fireworks or sudden revelation. It comes quietly, through a calm certainty that begins to replace the restless need to see results. You start to feel that something is moving, even if you can't yet name it. You sense a change in the air, a soft pull, as though your thoughts have finally found their way into the invisible current that connects you both. And that's when you understand. Influence doesn't come from doing more, it comes from being more. The mind is not a closed chamber, it's an open field. Thoughts are not static, they travel. They stretch beyond skin, beyond distance, beyond logic. And when those thoughts are charged with emotion, they become alive. They begin to move through the field of consciousness that every human shares. That is where telepathic connection begins, not as fantasy, but as resonance. You're not forcing your presence into someone else's mind. You're simply aligning with the frequency where your energy already exists. But here lies the truth most people overlook. Your signal only becomes powerful when it is clear. Unfocused emotions send mixed messages. Doubt whispers one thing, faith whispers another, and the result is noise, an unclear signal that dissipates before it reaches anywhere. The mind you wish to reach, their subconscious, doesn't respond to noise, it responds to coherence, it responds to certainty. So your only task is to refine your state until it becomes unwavering. That refinement begins with detachment. Detachment isn't indifference, it's mastery. It's knowing the outcome so deeply that you no longer need to chase it. When you release the urge to control, you allow energy to move freely. You become like still water, clear enough to reflect what you want, powerful enough to carry it forward. When your energy is still, your signal becomes sharp. And in that stillness, your message lands perfectly. They feel it before they understand it. A flicker of curiosity, a memory that wasn't supposed to resurface. They begin to wonder where these sudden feelings are coming from, unaware that they're picking up on your frequency. You've spoken to them not in words, but in energy. That's how influence truly works. It bypasses the conscious mind entirely. Yet the real power is not in them thinking about you. It's in you holding your state no matter what they do. When you no longer need to look for confirmation, you become magnetic. When your worth isn't dependent on response, your energy becomes irresistible, because the universe always mirrors the energy that needs nothing to prove itself. And then something remarkable happens. The shift that begins in your inner world starts to echo outward. Their behavior begins to subtly reflect your certainty. You notice their name appearing more often, their messages arriving unexpectedly, their presence weaving back into your days. To the untrained eye, it might seem like coincidence, but you know better. It's the reflection of your inner alignment taking form in the outer world. And this is why telepathic connection is so much more than thought projection. It's emotional leadership. It's the ability to remain anchored in your truth even as the physical world catches up. You're teaching their subconscious how to feel about you through the consistency of your own emotional state. You're giving their energy a rhythm to follow. The subconscious mind, both yours and theirs, is impressionable. It learns through repetition and emotion. Every time you visualize them drawn to you, every time you imagine their heart softening, every time you feel their energy turning toward you, you're installing that pattern deeper. And because energy seeks balance, their subconscious begins to harmonize with yours. It's not that you've taken control, it's that you've offered a vibration that feels more stable than their own. The human mind is naturally drawn to stability. It craves it, and you become that stability. You must remember that this is not manipulation, this is creation. Creation always begins within. You cannot plant doubt and expect desire to grow. You cannot hold fear and expect connection to deepen. You must plant certainty. You must water it with faith, and then, without needing to force, the unseen begins to rearrange itself to match the world you've already built inside. Think of it as sculpting reality. Each thought, each emotion, each image you hold is a brushstroke. You don't paint the whole picture in one day, you add to it daily, carefully, intentionally. The sculpture begins invisible, existing only in imagination, but as you keep shaping it with your belief, it begins to emerge from the invisible into the visible. One day, the person you've been connecting with begins to speak words you once imagined, to express feelings you once felt for them silently. They won't know why, but you will. And this is the moment most people struggle to handle. The point when faith must outlast visibility. When your outer reality still looks unchanged, but your inner knowing burns stronger than ever. This is the space between seed and bloom, the space where mastery is tested. If you can hold your energy steady here, without rushing, without needing proof, everything begins to accelerate. Because patience is not waiting, It's the quiet expression of absolute belief. In time, you stop thinking about how to make them feel something and you start focusing on how to be something. You become the vibration of peace, of confidence, of magnetism. You become the frequency they can't turn away from because it feels like home. And that's when they start gravitating back, not because you reached for them, but because you became what they were unconsciously looking for. So don't chase the connection, embody it. Don't try to make them remember, become unforgettable. Your energy is not limited by distance or silence. The moment you decide who you are in their mind, that decision begins to echo through the invisible field that binds all of us. Hold that image with grace. Live from it, speak from it, move from it. Soon what you once imagined will no longer feel imagined at all. It will feel inevitable. Because that's what happens when energy aligns with certainty. The world rearranges itself to match the story you've already been living in your mind. There's a quiet hour before dawn when the world feels suspended, when everything that usually demands attention seems to fade. That's the moment your energy is most powerful. In that silence, the mind is soft, receptive, open. It's there that creation begins, not with action, but with awareness. When you close your eyes and see them, when you can almost feel their breath in the air around you, you are not imagining in vain. You are communicating in the purest way possible. Thought to thought, emotion to emotion. This is what most people never understand. Telepathic influence isn't about control. It's not about bending another person's will. It's about allowing your energy to become so clear, so calm, so confident that their subconscious naturally aligns with it. The human mind, after all, is designed to mirror what it repeatedly encounters. We absorb moods, we sense emotion, we pick up on frequencies far beyond logic. When you hold someone in your mind with focus and emotional coherence, you're teaching their energy what it feels like to be near you. You're writing the emotional code that their subconscious begins to follow. But to do that effectively, you have to understand the role of emotion in this process. Emotion is not decoration, it's direction. It's the force that carries your thoughts from the realm of imagination into the realm of reality. When you think of them with indifference, the signal fades before it leaves you. But when you think of them with warmth, confidence, and certainty, the signal vibrates with life. It travels, it lingers, it echoes. The emotion is what gives your thought momentum, and the more consistent that emotion is, the more it begins to take shape in their inner world. Imagine your thoughts as ripples in still water. Every feeling you send out creates a wave. At first, those waves are small, barely noticeable, but repetition makes them stronger. Each time you return to the vision, seeing their eyes searching for you, feeling the warmth of their presence, hearing their voice in your imagination, you send another wave. Over time, the water begins to move differently. Their subconscious starts to recognize your energy as something constant, something that belongs. That's when the connection starts to feel effortless, natural, inevitable. Yet the key is never obsession, it's precision. Many people mistake focus for fixation. They try too hard, feel too much, and end up flooding their own signal with anxiety. True telepathic command is delicate. It's a balance between intention and surrender. You must learn when to project and when to release, when to speak through energy and when to let silence do the work. Silence is not absence, it's space, and space allows your energy to breathe, to travel, to reach them unburdened by resistance. You don't need to think of them all day. You just need to think of them with clarity when you do. Quality of thought always outweighs quantity. A few seconds of pure, unwavering emotion, a clear image felt with certainty, is more powerful than hours of scattered longing. Because what moves energy is not time, it's truth. The universe doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to conviction. And that conviction comes from one simple realization: what you seek is not outside of you. Every time you try to pull them closer with need, you push the connection away. But every time you remember that your energy already contains everything you desire, the connection strengthens. You are not trying to create attraction. You are realizing it already exists. You are not begging to be remembered. You are returning to the truth that you never left their mind. Energy, when it's aligned, doesn't chase, it calls. It doesn't demand, it allows. You don't have to control their thoughts. You only have to master yours. When you sit quietly and hold a picture of them smiling at you, feeling at peace, feeling drawn to you, your subconscious begins to vibrate in harmony with that image. And because we are all connected through the same field of consciousness, that vibration doesn't stop with you. It extends outward, touching theirs. They feel it subtly at first, a warmth, a thought, a pull they can't explain. And it's not your words doing it, it's your energy whispering, "Remember me." In time, that whisper becomes familiar to them. They start to associate it with comfort, with curiosity, with something that feels like home. They might not recognize it as your energy at first. They might just feel an urge to reach out, to check on you, to recall a moment you once shared. The connection grows not because you forced it, but because you allowed it to be felt. The mind, both yours and theirs, is always scanning for coherence. It seeks what feels stable. It looks for energy that doesn't waver. That's why your only job is to remain emotionally grounded. No matter what you see or don't see in the physical world, you hold your center. You stay in the reality where the bond already exists, because it does. Every connection, before it becomes visible, begins as energy. Think of it like light traveling across space. It moves quietly, invisibly, until one day it reaches its destination, and suddenly it's seen. That's your influence, constant, patient, inevitable. The thoughts you send today may not be visible tomorrow, but they are traveling. The universe doesn't forget the frequency of a focused mind. So don't rush, don't question. Instead, refine. Shape your inner world as if it were clay in your hands. Fill it with emotion that feels certain, not desperate. With images that feel real, not forced. You're not waiting for a miracle, you're building one. Every moment you spend in that space of calm, confident knowing, you are sculpting the unseen. And soon they will feel it too. Maybe in a dream, maybe in a passing thought, maybe in that strange moment when the heart feels pulled towards something it can't name. That's the signal finding its way home. That's the energy you've been shaping finally reaching its destination. You don't need to explain it to them. You don't even need to tell them. You only need to keep creating from within. Because influence, true influence, doesn't announce itself. It simply becomes undeniable. There is a moment, almost imperceptible, when your inner energy begins to lead instead of follow. When you no longer wonder if they're thinking of you, because deep down you can feel that they are. It's a soft hum beneath your awareness, a vibration that tells you the message has been received. This is the stage where telepathic influence transforms into harmony. You are no longer sending signals. You're dancing with them through energy, through emotion, through the invisible thread that binds two minds once they've recognized each other's frequency. It's important to understand that every relationship, before it takes shape in the physical world, begins as an energetic dialogue. Before words are spoken, before gestures are exchanged, there's a silent exchange of thought. You can sense when someone is drawn to you, even without proof. You can feel when someone's energy lingers close, even in their absence. That's not imagination, it's perception. The human mind is both a transmitter and a receiver. And when two people share an emotional charge, the connection between them becomes a living current. But the key to maintaining that current lies in one thing: emotional balance. When you waver between faith and fear, the signal weakens. When you stay centered, steady, assured, calm, the connection strengthens naturally. The universe and the subconscious mind both respond to consistency. They align with stability, not intensity. So it's not the force of your emotion that sustains the link. It's the steadiness of your belief. Every time you imagine them thinking of you, smiling at you, missing you, you're adding texture to the energy that binds you. But if you do it with a heart full of doubt, you split your own frequency. Doubt is like static. It distorts the signal. Faith, however, refines it. The more peaceful you are, the clearer your message becomes. They don't need to hear your words. They feel the vibration of your certainty. There's a reason people feel drawn to those who are calm, grounded, and self-assured. It's because stability feels safe. and safety is magnetic. When you hold your energy steady, you become a sanctuary, an emotional anchor in a world full of chaos. Without realizing it, the other person begins to feel that pull. They start to associate you with stillness, with warmth, with something that makes sense even when life doesn't. That's how emotional gravity works. It doesn't shout, it invites. Think of influence not as a push, but as a pull. You're not trying to invade someone's mind. You're creating a frequency that their energy naturally gravitates toward. It's not manipulation, it's alignment. You're simply setting a tone so clear that their subconscious begins to resonate with it. The more you live in that tone, the more you become its embodiment. And here's where mastery truly begins, when you stop visualizing from the position of wanting and start visualizing from the position of being. Wanting says, I hope this happens. Being says, this is already mine. Wanting reaches outward, being radiates outward. The difference is subtle but transformative. One is rooted in lack, the other is rooted in presence. When you embody presence, you no longer chase, you magnetize. This is what changes everything. The realization that telepathic connection doesn't require effort. It requires clarity. You don't need to repeat affirmations endlessly or analyze every sign. You simply need to maintain emotional coherence, to hold your inner reality so steady that the outer one must catch up. Because it will, it always does. As you continue to live in that calm knowing, small reflections begin to appear. A sudden message, a shared thought, a name appearing out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. They are alignments, evidence that your inner world is echoing into theirs. You might find them referencing something you recently thought about, or mirroring your emotions without knowing why. This happens because the subconscious communicates through feeling, not logic. They don't know why they're thinking of you. They simply feel that they are supposed to. And when you sense that, your role is not to react with excitement or fear. Your role is to stay steady, to remain the emotional leader. Energy flows toward the most stable frequency in any dynamic. When you hold your peace, you become the leader of the connection, not through dominance, but through consistency. That's the quiet authority of someone who knows. Remember, this entire process is not about changing another person. It's about remembering your own influence. You are not separate from what you desire. The energy that flows through you is the same energy that animates them. When you realize that, the idea of distance begins to dissolve. You stop asking how and start trusting when. You stop waiting for signs and start moving as if everything has already been confirmed. And that changes how you live. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You stop trying to control outcomes and instead focus on your state of being. You start creating moments of stillness throughout your day. Small pauses where you return to that inner knowing. You close your eyes and remember, the connection already exists. The message has already been sent. The energy is already moving. It's in that stillness that you find the real magic. Because when you stop trying to send signals and simply be the signal, the communication becomes constant. You no longer have to imagine them receiving your energy. They are already living in it. Your frequency becomes a soft rhythm in their subconscious, a comforting familiarity they can't quite place but can't let go of either. So remain patient, trust the subtle unfolding. Influence doesn't rush, it ripens. The longer you hold your energy steady, the stronger the bridge becomes. And one day, without fanfare or force, the moment will arrive when they reach out, when they confess that they couldn't stop thinking of you, when they describe feelings that match the very emotions you've been sending all along. That's not a miracle, that's alignment made visible. That's the natural result of consistency meeting faith. You didn't chase it, you became it. You didn't demand it, you embodied it. And that's why, in the quiet hum of the unseen, their thoughts found their way back to you. There comes a time when you stop trying to make sense of what's happening and simply allow it. You feel it, not as a thought, but as a current moving through you. The connection that once seemed distant now feels inevitable, like two melodies blending into a single song. You no longer question if they feel your energy. You just know they do. Because you've begun to master the one thing that changes everything: emotional authority. To influence another mind is not to dominate it, but to lead it gently, silently, through the language of emotion. Every human being responds to the same law, the pull toward emotional coherence. When something feels real, it becomes real. When something feels certain, the mind builds evidence to support it. You've been learning, without even realizing it, to become that emotional certainty in their inner world. Not by chasing their attention, but by anchoring your own. You see, the subconscious mind doesn't follow words, it follows patterns. It listens to emotion more than logic. It remembers feelings longer than facts. So, when you hold a consistent emotional tone towards someone, you begin to train their subconscious to associate you with that feeling. If the emotion you project is peace, they begin to crave that calm. If it's warmth, they begin to remember you as safety. If it's passion, they begin to feel that desire rise without understanding why. That's the real essence of telepathic communication. It's not about thought transference, it's about emotional synchronization. Two people vibrating at the same emotional frequency begin to influence each other's inner dialogue, even without words. That's why sometimes you think of someone just before they message you. That's why their name appears when you least expect it. It's not coincidence, it's energetic alignment manifesting as physical reality. But here's where many lose balance. They begin to measure progress through reaction. They look for signs, for messages, for proof. And the moment they don't find it, they panic. But influence doesn't operate through immediacy. It operates through momentum. The energy you've been sending builds quietly, layer by layer, until it becomes so natural in their mind that it feels like their own thought. That's the beauty of this process. It's invisible until it's undeniable. So instead of asking, when will they feel it, ask yourself, how stable am I in my belief? Because that's what determines how fast the connection strengthens. When your inner state remains calm and certain, your energy becomes predictable, trustworthy, magnetic. The subconscious of the other person recognizes that stability and begins to harmonize with it. You become the emotional reference point in their inner landscape, the feeling they return to when everything else feels uncertain. And isn't that what everyone is searching for? Not perfection, but stability. Not excitement, but consistency. People fall in love not with appearances, but with the emotions someone makes them feel. That's what you're creating. An emotion so familiar, so comforting, that they instinctively return to it. Your role is to nurture that emotional tone within yourself until it becomes second nature. In practical terms, that means living as though the connection is already complete. Not pretending, but embodying. You speak, move, and think like someone who already has the attention they once sought. You carry yourself as though you are already chosen. And in that shift, your energy changes everything. You stop chasing energy and start radiating it. From this place, the connection evolves into something different. It's no longer about attraction, it's about recognition. They don't feel drawn to you because you're new. They feel drawn because something in your energy feels like home. They may try to rationalize it, to categorize it, but they can't. You exist in their mind as both comfort and mystery, and that duality is what keeps their attention locked. When you reach this stage, your only job is to maintain emotional integrity. That means no longer reacting to temporary silence or inconsistency. It means holding your inner equilibrium even when things appear still, because stillness doesn't mean absence. It often means integration. The energy you've been sending is settling in, weaving itself into the fabric of their perception. They begin to think of you at random times. They wake up with your name on their tongue. They dream of you, not as fantasy, but as memory. Their subconscious is now playing the story you've written with your belief. And as they start to act from that inner narrative, the physical reality begins to mirror it. They reach out. They speak words that sound like echoes of your affirmations. They begin to confirm what you've known all along. But even then, the true mastery lies in not reacting as if it's a surprise. You don't meet their energy with disbelief or excitement. You meet it with quiet recognition, because you've already lived this moment internally. You've already seen it, felt it, believed it. The external event is simply catching up to the inner truth you've held. That's the calm power of a creator, someone who doesn't chase outcomes but allows them to arrive naturally. And that calmness, that grounded certainty, is what deepens the connection beyond attraction. They begin to trust it. They begin to need it. Because your energy no longer feels like an external pull. It feels like part of their own emotional rhythm. You've become the undercurrent in their thoughts, the invisible thread that ties meaning to their experiences. You've transcended effort and entered embodiment. This is what real influence feels like: quiet, graceful, unstoppable. You are not controlling their thoughts, you are harmonizing with them. You're not bending their will, you're showing their subconscious a vibration it prefers to live in. And once it chooses that vibration, it doesn't let go. So remain the emotional leader. Keep your energy clean, clear, and calm. Live from the truth that everything you seek already belongs to you. The world and they will continue to adjust to that truth. And one day, without warning, they'll look at you and realize that what they feel isn't new. It's something they've been feeling for a long time. Something that began quietly, invisibly. The first moment your energy whispered their name. There's a quiet transformation that happens once you stop trying to be understood and start allowing yourself to be felt. Words lose importance. Actions stop being measured. Everything begins to move according to energy, and you start to see that every encounter, every silence, every distance has always been responding to your vibration. You no longer ask why things unfold the way they do, because you've come to recognize that you're the one writing the rhythm. You've become the author of the atmosphere around you. When your inner state reaches coherence, when your thoughts, emotions, and belief align, you start to emit a frequency that the world cannot ignore. That's not poetic exaggeration, it's law. Energy organizes around clarity. The universe itself, in its infinite complexity, bends toward coherence. And human consciousness is no different. When your inner world is clear, others can feel it, even if they can't explain why. That's why some people walk into a room and shift the entire mood without speaking. They've learned to radiate rather than react. You are learning that now. Every time you hold your belief steady, every time you refuse to waver between doubt and knowing, you're strengthening the field around you. You're refining the signal that your energy sends into the unseen. The other person, whether they're near or far, begins to sense it. They might not think they're thinking about me right now, but they'll feel something, a pull, a comfort, an unexplainable focus that keeps drawing them back to you. This isn't magic, it's the physics of consciousness. The mind doesn't exist in isolation. Every thought you hold leaves an impression on the shared field of awareness that connects all beings. When you fill that field with a consistent emotion, it starts to build a gravitational pull. That's why it's so crucial to choose your emotional tone carefully. Because what you feel most often becomes what others feel around you. If you hold yourself in the energy of peace, people will feel at ease in your presence. If you embody certainty, they'll feel safe around you. If you radiate love, they'll feel warmth even when you're silent. But when it comes to telepathic influence, there's something even deeper happening. You're not just sending energy, you're shaping memory. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. When you visualize moments of connection, emotion, and warmth between you and another person, their subconscious begins to respond as if those moments actually happened. Over time, they start recalling these emotions as memories. They remember you not for what was, but for what you've consistently imagined them remembering. That's how influence quietly becomes reality. You plant emotional experiences in the soil of imagination, and their mind waters it with repetition. Before long, they can't tell whether they're remembering or feeling something new. They only know that they're drawn to you inexplicably, as if it's always been that way. That's the invisible artistry of emotional leadership, guiding someone's inner perception through the consistency of your energy. But to sustain that power, you must remain unattached. Attachment is the weight that makes energy dense, heavy, resistant. When you try to force the connection to manifest on your schedule, you interrupt the flow. You block the natural unfolding. Detachment, on the other hand, is freedom. It's the quiet confidence that what you've created internally must express itself externally without your interference. You trust that energy moves faster when you stop clutching at it. This is where your true strength shows, in your ability to believe without demanding evidence. You already know how the story ends. You've seen it in your mind too many times to doubt it. You've rehearsed the energy until it's second nature. You've become so aligned with the outcome that even silence feels like part of the process. That's when the connection becomes unbreakable, not because you're forcing it, but because you've let it breathe. And they feel it, they feel your peace, they feel your stillness. Something in them relaxes when they think of you, even if they don't know why. That's how you become irreplaceable. Not by trying to impress, but by being the calm in the storm of their thoughts. The subconscious always moves toward what feels safe, familiar, and consistent. When your energy embodies those qualities, it becomes irresistible. There's a quiet elegance in that kind of influence. You no longer rush to send energy, you are energy. You no longer chase a reaction, you trust the echo. And that echo always returns, carrying with it the very emotions you projected into the world. They begin to see you everywhere, in faces, in songs, in moments that seem insignificant but carry your frequency. They start noticing patterns that feel like fate, not realizing they're simply walking through the reflection of your inner world. This is how the invisible becomes visible. The universe is a mirror, and the subconscious is the glass between your inner state and their perception. The clearer your energy, the clearer the reflection. If you ever wonder whether it's working, ask yourself one question. Do I feel aligned? Because when your energy feels aligned, the outer world is already adjusting to meet it. The results are not coming, they're unfolding. In this phase, patience isn't passive, it's creative. You use it to refine, to strengthen, to anchor deeper into certainty. You're not waiting, you're allowing. Each day that you stay centered, the connection grows more tangible. You can feel the subtle expansion, the soft pull of awareness, the undeniable recognition that something is shifting between you and them. And when they finally act, when the message arrives, when the moment unfolds, it won't feel like surprise. It'll feel like alignment, because you've already lived it 1,000 times in your energy. You'll recognize it not as something new, but as something fulfilled. This is the quiet mastery of telepathic influence, not control, not demand, but creation through emotional clarity. You've stopped reacting to their silence and started composing the vibration they now respond to. You've stopped waiting to be chosen and realized you were the one doing the choosing all along. And that's when the power becomes effortless, when influence turns into connection, and connection turns into truth. The truth that energy never lies, and that everything you hold in unwavering belief eventually finds its reflection in the heart of the one who feels you most.